Hello and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, you're going to learn how to make this dress. This is a brocade fabric. You can use brocade, you can use damask, but this is a brocade fabric and that is what we are going to be using. So let's get straight to the point. First of all, we are drafting our skirts first. So her half length is 16. I took out 16. Her waist to hip, shoulder to hip is 27. I marked 27. Her shoulder to knee is 37. I marked 37. Then the full length of this gown will be 62 inches, and this is 62 inches. So I'm drafting out the skirt first, and after drafting the front pattern of this skirt, I will use it to cut out the back. So now I'll go ahead and cut off the paper from there, and I'll also rule all my lines and they'll label them. So remember that I took out my half length. Our half length is 16 and a half. I took it out and I'm going to label these lines. This one is the hip line. This particular one that I'm marking now is the hip line, the shoulder to hip. Then this one is the knee line. If you don't know your knee line, just come down by 10 inches or 9 inches from your hip and you will get your knee line. So I'll go ahead and label them. This is hip line, this is the knee line, we have the full length. I will just write FL. This is the full length, and then this is the waistline. So the waist that we are working with is 34 inches. I'll go ahead and divide 34 by 4, but I like marking my hip first. So her hip is 44. I divided 44 by 4 and I marked no allowance for now. I did not add any allowance to this pattern. Then on her waist, we are going to divide 34 by 4 and we will mark, that is like 8.5. So at the knee line, I'll take out 2 inches from whatever I got at the hip. The hip is 44 divided by 4, right? That is 11. So that 11, I'll take out 2 from it and I'll mark whatever I have at the knee. So I marked 9 inches at the knee line. Then from there, I'll take it straight down to the full line. So whatever you mark at your hip, just come in by 2 inches and mark the rest on your knee line. So now I'll go ahead and cut this off. Using this paper, I'll cut out the front pattern of the skirt and the back pattern of the skirt. Like I will cut out the front and then I'll place the front on the back and then cut out the back. So now if I'm cutting this on the fabric, I am going to add 2 inches seam allowance. This is brocade. It is even better for you to add 2.5 to be on the safer side, because one problem with brocade is that it feels like sometimes it shrinks. So it is better for you to add extra allowance so that you'll be on the safer side. Now I'll place my paper on it, and if I am cutting, I'll cut out the skirt. I'll add 1 inch for turning at the full length, and then at the sides I will add 2 inches. At the half length, you can also add half an inch seam allowance. So I'm adding 2 inches seam allowance at the sides. Now I'm done cutting out the front of this skirt. Using this front, I'll cut out the back. So the only difference between the front and the back is the zipper allowance. I'll place this front on this fabric that I folded, and I will add 2.5 inch for zipper allowance. You can add 2, but I added 2.5 inch. Like I'm adding like extra half to the normal allowance that we add on a normal day because of the type of fabric I'm working with. So I will add that and I'll go ahead and cut this. After cutting this, I'll also cut out the lining. I will use doll face for the lining. I will use a gold doll face for the lining. Yes, I prefer using doll face for the lining of this fabric. If I'm making this, I prefer using doll face, and I don't add interface. If you want to add interface or gum, that is fine, but if I'm using doll face and this brocade, I don't add interface because this brocade is already thick. So after doing this, we'll go ahead and cut out our lining. Then our lining, we are going to reduce it by 1 inch at the full length, 1 inch or 1.5 inch at the full length.
Our hearts beat to the city streets, we began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun, as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky just too hard.
Now we are done cutting out the lining. The next thing that we are going to do now is to draft the front. So this is the paper that we are going to be working with, and we are going to draft a bust here, right? So now I'll start taking my vertical measurements. Her shoulder to bust point is 11 inches. Then from that 11 inches, you go up by 2.5, and that will be your chest line or your armhole line. So this is 11 inches. Her under bust is 14. Her half length is 16.5, and then I added extra 2 inches for her allowance. So this is the bust point 11, right? So after that, I'll also connect the under bust. Her under bust is 14. Her half length is 16.5, and then her allowance, I added 2 inches for extra allowance. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to come up by like 2.5 from the bust points line, and that will be the chest line or the armhole line. I'll also go ahead and connect that line. So let's label, this is the chest line, bust points, under bust, half length, and allowance. Okay, so now this is the paper that we are going to use to draft out her front block, and I'll go ahead and cut off the part of the paper that I will not need. So now this is what we are working with. The first thing that I'm going to do right here is to get her neckline. That neckline will help guide me, so I like starting with neckline, and the neckline is more like a deep sweetheart neckline. So the width is 3.5, the width of the neckline is 3.5. Then the depth of the neckline, I made it 6.5, 6.5. You can choose to make it 6, but I made it 6.5. Then the next thing that I'm going to do is to mark a straight line down to that 6.5 area. Then from there, you make a little sweetheart. The sweetheart neckline is not too deep. From there, you make a little sweetheart. So this is the neckline that we are working with, right? So this neckline will help guide us. That's why I marked my neckline first. The next thing is to get a nipple to nipple. That is 8 divided by 2, 4. At the under bust, I will mark 3.5 instead of 4. Then half length 3.5, allowance 3.5. Then I'll also mark her shoulder. Her shoulder is 16 divided by 2, that is 8. Then from that 8, I will connect straight down to the chest line, and then I will use 1.5 on the shoulder slope. Then from that shoulder, I'll also connect my armhole. Like this is my armhole curve. Now I'm going to connect my dart lines. I marked 3.5 from the under bust to the allowance. Then I marked 4 at the bust points. Okay. So now the next thing that we are going to do is to find the midpoint of our shoulder. You know, we are done marking out our neckline. I'll find the midpoint of the remaining part of that. So I have 4.5 there. That is 2.25. And I'll go ahead and mark. So the midpoint of 4.5 is 2.25. So this is the midpoint of the remaining part of the shoulder. This dress will have a shoulder dart. Then from that midline, I'll mark 3 inches for the shoulder darts. So from the midpoint, go out by 3 inches and then connect. Then this is the shoulder darts. We are taking out these shoulder darts, right? So now the next thing that we are going to do is to mark 2.5 at the under bust down to the allowance for the bust cut, for the breast cut. So I took out 2.5 from the under bust down to the allowance, and then from the under bust, I will curve it to the bust point. I'm trying to like get the bust cut. Now we have gotten the upper dart and the under bust dart. Now I'm going to close the shoulder darts the way, just close it the way I am doing now. After closing the shoulder darts, you go ahead and remark your shoulder. 16 divided by 2, that is 8. So this is my new shoulder. So from that new shoulder, I will reconnect to my chest line. I hope you understand what I did. You know, I took out 3 inches dart at the shoulder. So after doing that, you will have to remark your new shoulder. So this is our new shoulder. Okay, so now I'm going to extend that sweetheart neckline to the chest line. Just curve it to the chest line. I've extended the sweetheart neckline because the other one will be in form of yoke. We are going to join it like a yoke. So after extending that neckline, you go ahead and cut it off and then cut out your yoke. So this part that I am holding right now will be my yoke. Now I'll cut off my shoulder slope and I'll also cut out the neckline. So this part is going out and this is what you are left with. I'll get a glue and I will use the glue to close it. If you have masking tape, yes, use masking tape and close it. And this is your yoke. So just go ahead and keep it aside. This will be your yoke. Okay, so this is the part that we are going to pleat on. You know, this neckline has a pleat, so this is the part that we are going to pleat on. I'll label it as my yoke and then I will keep it aside. So this is the yoke. Now we'll keep it aside and we'll go back to the main bustier. So by the time you are done pleating, we'll join it back. Now back to the main bustier. We have taken under bust dart, we have taken upper bust dart, the shoulder dart is the upper bust dart. Then the next thing that we are going to do is to take our body measurement. I'll measure the dart I have at the upper bust area. I'll measure the dart I have at the upper bust area. So after measuring that, the next thing that you can cover it this way and take your measurement, but let me leave it this way. So I measured the dart I have at that upper bust and I have just 1 inch dart. If you measure it, I have just 1 inch dart at that upper bust. So divide your bust by 4 plus extra 1 inch for that dart at the top. Then at your half length, divide your waist by 4 plus extra 2.5 that we took out for the under bust dart. So her waist is 34 divided by 4, that is 8.5 plus extra 2.5, and that is 11 inches. So I marked 11 inches and I connected it to my bust. Now I am done. I'll go ahead and cut out this center dart. After cutting out the center dart, we are going to add a side dart to this, because you know that the front half length and the back half length are not equal. So this is what we have. If I close it up and join the yoke, everything will blend. All right, that is why I like using shoulder darts for any dress that has a yoke. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and cut out my side measurements. After cutting out the measurements, I will add my dart. So the difference between her front half length and her back half length is 1.5. Her front half length is 16.5. Her back half length is 15 inches. So 1.5 is what I'm going to use as the side dart. From the bust point line, I came down by 1.5 and I connected back to the bust points. So any difference you have between your front and back half length is what you are going to use as your side dart. So right now, I'll cut it open and I'll go ahead and close it. If you have masking tape, this will be easy for you. Now that we are done with the front, we're going to we'll move over to the back. Then the back does not have any yoke. The back is going to be the main fabric throughout. It's going to be the brocade fabric throughout. So we are done with the front and I'm trying to like trim down the pointy area of that paper. So we are done with the front. The next thing we are going to do now is to start drafting the back. So the back, I will not even add the darts to the back. I don't really use darts as my bag. Once I have my accurate half length, I don't really use that at my back. So this is what I'm going to use for the back. So first of all, I'll mark out 2 inches for my zipper allowance. 2 inches for my zipper allowance. So let me label it as a zipper allowance to avoid confusions. So now from the shoulder, I'll mark my chest line. Her chest line is 8.5. I'll go ahead and mark that as the chest line. Then from there, I'll mark her half length. Her back half length is 15 inches, remember. So this is 15 inches and I'll add extra 2 inches for it for allowance. Okay. Then this is the chest line. After doing that, we are going to take our shoulder measurement. Our shoulder is 18 divided by 2. Is 16 divided by 2, that is 8. Then from that 8 inches, I'll mark a straight line down to the chest line. Then from the midpoint of that chest line, I'll mark my armhole curve. So for the back neckline is going to be 3.5 by 1.5, 3.5 by 2, sorry. The back neckline is going to be a high neckline. So the width is 3.5, the depth is 2 inches. And I'll go ahead and connect. The back does not have any yoke. Then after marking the neckline, we're also going to mark our 1.5 for the shoulder slope. Now I said that I'm not adding any darts to this back. If you want to add princess dart or shoulder darts, you are free, but I'm not adding any darts to this back. So I am going to take her bust measurement divided by 4, her waist divided by 4, and that will be all. So after cutting this out, I'll start cutting everything on my fabric.
Our hearts beat to the city streets, we began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Afternoon, we lay awake in bed. The laugh so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, shout from the top. We're gonna be, we're gonna be two hearts running wild. The best we ever had, and we'll stay on forever. We'll never have regrets. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. Running wild, we're gonna be, we're gonna be two hearts running wild.
So right now I am done cutting out the fabric and the lining. I'll add interface to all of them, and I'll go ahead and cut out wording for the front. This is medium wording, and I'll cut the wording for the front and then the side pieces of the front. Now that we are done cutting the wording, the next thing that we are going to do is to make the pleats that will be on the front of the skirt. You know, the front of the skirt has a pleat, so we are going to make the pleats first of all. So I'm trying to check out the face of the fabric. Now the first thing that I'm going to do is to close the down part of that pleat. So I'll go ahead and close the down part of this pleat, and the down part of this pleat I will use hemming gum to hold it down. I don't want to run a stitch on it. So this part that I'm folding right now is the down part of the, this is where people will be seeing. The other one will enter the half length. So I'll get my hemming gum and I'll place it under and use hemming gum to close it. After closing it with hemming gum, I'll start making my pleats. If I pleat, I'll iron, and then make sure that your pleats, remember that the pleats of that skirt is facing downwards. If you check that skirt very well, all the pleats on the skirts, they are facing downwards. So if you're making this pleat, have it in mind that the pleats will not be facing up, it will be facing down. Okay, so now after hemming this particular area, just trying to keep it neat, after hemming this particular area, we will start making our pleats. And I would advise you to use steam iron, because steam will help you make flat pleats. As you are pleating, you'll be steaming. So now I'll start making my pleats.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals that take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed. The laugh so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts.
So now I am done making these pleats, and I'm trying to make sure that everything is well ironed, and then I'll get my skirt and I'll place it. It will be in a slanted manner, and you place this pleat before you turn with your lining. That is why I started with this pleat first. I'll place the pleats before I turn with the lining, so that the skirt will be neat. You need to make sure that the finishing of your skirt is neat. So I don't want to turn this with the lining before doing it. I want the lining to cover all the rough edges. So now I'm pinning this down. Then after pinning it down, you can make sure that it is slanted. After pinning it down, I'll go to the sewing machine and I'll sew around it. I'll just stitch it down and then trim the remaining. So now I'm done stitching it down, and the next thing is to place the lining, and then I will use the lining to cover it. So this is where we are going to stop for now. The tutorial is already long. It is more than 20 minutes. So in our next tutorial, we are going to finish up the sewing process. So this is the lining of the back. I'll also go ahead and arrange the lining according to how I'm going to turn them. So the next thing that we are going to do now is to add interface to all our pieces, and I will also add my wording. Yeah, so add your wording and then your interface.